I took a lot of drugs and drank a lot. I think it's pretty, like a knee-jerk reaction to a really crazy, chaotic situation. I mean, you're brought up in total chaos, and that's the only stability you know, and then bam, it's gone, and it's like, what do you do?
Next, John meets a kindred spirit and finds an outlet for his angst.
I think everybody just wanted to see which one of us was going to, like, either A, pass out, or B, die, or be killed.
And later, John lives life on a razor's edge.
It's such a rock cliche, but man, I mean, we were going off the rails, man. It was like, it was nuts.
When the In the mid-90s, John Rzeznik's romantic ballads and leading man good looks catapulted the Goo Goo Dolls into the spotlight. But his newfound fans would hardly have recognized him as a teen. John was a lanky, insecure introvert. After losing both his parents by age 16, John was all but living on his own, a rebellious young man trying to find his way in the world.
Even though it was a difficult time, he was discovering himself. He was making up this new person based on, got rid of everything and started over.
In time, John would find purpose and perhaps even salvation in music. He taught himself guitar and played the local punk circuit. Then in December of '85, John discovered the perfect accomplice, heavy metal bassist Robbie Takac.
I just thought he was whack, man. He had a big mohawk, and I was from this whole different thing, man.
Robbie was like a metal guy, It was really funny, because we got along really well. And I was never into metal, but I really loved him. He was immediately endearing. He was like the brother I never had.
As they grew closer, Robbie pushed John to write and sing, gradually drawing him out of his shell.
Because I finally had somebody in my life who was like really motivated to go out and do something, and I think he kind of saw some potential in me.
In February '86, John and Robbie teamed up with drummer George Tatuska to form the Goo Goo Dolls. From the very beginning, John and Robbie shared big dreams of the big time.
He and I made a pact with each other to make it, and to do it in our own way.
The shows were just crazy. It's nuts, man. Every kid in town would show up, and you'd be flipping around in this big pile of sweaty people and loud music.
We would just get up out of our minds and play the most obnoxious we could possibly do,
Within a few months, the Goo Goo Dolls were favorites on Buffalo's club scene. Their wild on-stage antics, relentless energy, and anything-goes attitude earned them a devoted cult following.
I think everybody just wanted to see which one of us was going to, either A, pass out, or B, die, or be killed.
In November of '86, the band landed a deal with independent label Celluloid Records. But shortly after the release of their first album, Celluloid went bankrupt. Undaunted, the band borrowed money from friends and went back into the studio. But John and Robbie's hearty appetite for alcohol and drugs made the sessions anything but productive.
A lot of beer, a lot of truck stop speed, a lot of pot, Don't remember a lot of it,
When you miss the button, the record button too many times, because there were too many of them, then we'd quit for the night.
If it weren't for Artie Quitchoff, the Goo Goo Dolls might never have left Buffalo. A local promoter and friend, Artie gave the band much-needed direction.
it was like having 3 children before I really wanted children, you know, and they were grown children with alcohol problems. So I adopted something that I wasn't quite prepared for.
I can't believe he put up with any of it. He was like every single thing we weren't. He was organized and sober, you know, we weren't any of those things.
In May of '87, Artie arranged the band's first national tour. They borrowed a cargo van from a friend and hit the road.
5 guys, no windows. You go to sleep at 38 degrees, you know, you wake up when it's like 80 degrees, 90 degrees. Seemed like there was a German shepherd sitting outside the door, you know.
After a gig in L.A., the band was offered a contract with indie label Metal Blade Records. John and Robbie turned the deal over to the only attorney they knew, a divorce lawyer back in Buffalo.
The lawyer said, put a note on it. Guys, this is a slavery contract. I wouldn't sign it, but I have no desire to be a rock star.
And I said, give me the pen. We're putting this record out, you know. We all signed it, you know. He told us don't, and we did it anyway, you know.
With reckless abandon, the Goo Goo Dolls entered into a 5-record deal with Metal Blade Records.
When someone's hanging your dream in front of you, you know, you'll do whatever you got to do to make that dream happen.
In February '89, the band released their second album, Jed, and went back out on tour. But on the road, John's drinking got out of control, straining his relationships with Robbie and drummer George Tatuska.
I was really heading for this collision course. You know, it's such a rock cliche, but man, I mean, we were going off the rails, man. It was like, it was nuts.
At age 24, fearing he, like his father, would slide into the abyss of addiction, John stopped drinking. That was November 5th, 1989, and it would be nearly 5 years before he would have another drink.
It was just like, damn, man, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna f*** everything up.
Sober, John steadily gained confidence in his singing and songwriting. And with a sharper focus, the Goo Goo Dolls headed back to the studio in May 1990 to record their third album, Hold Me Up.
That was our first real record. That's where we came to grips with the fact that we could toy with, you know, melody and harmony and trying to say something that wasn't completely obnoxious.
Though sales for Hold Me Up were disappointing, music critics liked what they heard.
You know, we were a critic's darling for a long time. That was great, but, you know, it wasn't helping us all that much.
Then in late '92, the Dolls started work on their fourth album, while their label, Metal Blade, forged an alliance with Warner Brothers Records. Under the terms of the agreement, the band was still bound to the production deal with Metal Blade, but their new record would be distributed and promoted by the industry giant. So the band's hopes were higher than ever when they released Superstar Car Wash on the Warner Brothers label in February of '93.
I thought we were successful at that point in time, you know? I mean, to me, I mean, you know, we didn't have any money, but we were doing what we liked and we were taking care of ourselves.
To support the album, Warner Brothers sent the Goo Goo Dolls on a year-long tour, and this time they were the headliners. The band retired the old cargo van and traveled in style on a tour bus.
That was like the biggest thing. We were so proud of that, man. You'd go out there and shine a little eagle on the front.
I kept waiting for the bus to turn into a pumpkin, you know? See ya!
Despite the ambitious tour, sales of Superstar Car Wash all but dried up. Just 6 months after its release, Warner Brothers threw in the towel and canceled the Goo Goo Dolls roadshow.
We were just sort of like inching along still, and, you know, got sent home again, and, you know, you kind of feel like that kid that like, got pulled out of the game, you know?
After 7 long years of struggle, the Goo Goo Dolls were once again retreating back to Buffalo. Penniless, they were forced to get day jobs. Morale was at an all-time low.
I thought, man, I can't keep doing this. You know, I'm like 26 now or whatever. I'm getting older. I don't want to live in the attic for the rest of my life with Robbie as my roommate. You know, maybe I should go get a job.
Next, the Dolls send their drummer packing.
There was a lot of guilt and a lot of emotion involved in that breakup.
And later, the band gets schooled in rock and roll finance.
The band, I think, naively assumed that just because they'd sold, in their mind, 2 million records, they were entitled to a substantial sum of money, which was entirely untrue.
When behind the music... After the abrupt and heartbreaking cancellation of their 1993 tour, the Goo Goo Dolls spent nearly a year back in Buffalo, working odd jobs just to make ends meet.
I was nearing my 30s at that point. That sort of reality thing was sort of starting to sink in again, you know. I'm hearing these echoes of my father going, you know, you're making a mistake.
Then in the summer of '94, the Dolls got yet another crack at success.